In 1922, a British archaeologist named John Marshall was standing in a field in modern-day Pakistan. He was looking at a pile of ancient bricks. Nothing special, just old bricks sticking out of the ground in a place called Mohenjo-daro. He picked one up and realized it had been fired in a kiln that operated 4,500 years ago. He started digging, and what came out of the ground over the next several years shook the entire field of archaeology to its core. Because buried beneath that field was a city. Not just any city. A city with straight roads laid out in a perfect grid. Multi-story houses built from standardized bricks. Every single brick the same size, the same ratio. Across hundreds of miles of settlements. Public swimming pools. Covered sewage drains running under every street. Garbage chutes built into the walls of houses. A city more advanced in urban planning than anything in Europe for another 2,000 years. A city of 40,000 people, built in 2500 BCE. And nobody, not a single historian, not a single archaeologist, had any idea it existed. This is Forgotten Kingdoms, and this is the story of the Indus Valley civilization, the most mysterious empire in all of human history. Across the plains and deserts of South Asia, the ruins of the Indus Valley civilization stretch farther than the eye can follow. Over 1,400 settlements, cities, towns, and villages dot a territory that covers 1.5 million square kilometers. That is an area larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. The scale is staggering. This was not a cluster of isolated towns. This was a civilization that spanned from the Himalayan foothills to the Arabian Sea, from the deserts of Baluchistan to the fields of Gujarat. The numbers defy belief. Between 1 and 5 million people lived here at its peak. Mohenjo-daro alone held 40,000 souls, packed into a city built with mathematical precision, every street and block laid out on a grid. But Mohenjo-daro was just one node in a web that stretched for 1,000 miles. Imagine the logistics. Imagine the coordination needed to keep brick sizes identical from one end of the world to the other, to maintain standards in places separated by rivers, mountains, and deserts. How did they do it? No kings, no palaces, no armies of scribes issuing orders. At least, none have been found. The sheer density of sites, mapped by satellite and ground survey, reveals a society that did not just survive, but thrived on an unprecedented scale. The deeper archaeologists dig, the bigger the Indus world grows. Every new site, every mound of earth, every scatter of fired brick expands the map. The question is not just how this civilization managed such unity and reach, it is why it vanished, leaving behind only its bones, its bricks, and a silence that has lasted for 45 centuries. In Mohenjo-daro, order was not just an ideal, it was the blueprint. Streets cut across each other at right angles, forming a grid so precise that every block, from the main avenues to the narrowest lane, followed the same measured logic. Main roads stretched up to 9 meters wide, designed for crowds and carts, while side streets branched into residential quarters, all mapped with mathematical care. This was urban planning on a scale the ancient world had never seen. Beneath the surface, a hidden network reveals even more. Covered drains, built from bricks in a strict ratio of 1 to 2 to 4, ran under every street. These were not open ditches, but engineered sewers, sloped just enough to keep water and waste flowing, sealed tight to prevent leaks, and accessible for cleaning. Archaeologists have traced over 1 kilometer of these drains in Mohenjo-daro alone, many still intact after 4 millennia. Every home, regardless of status, connected directly to this system. Wastewater from kitchens and private baths emptied into the sewers, while soak pits filtered runoff before it reached the main drains. At the city center, the Great Bath stands out, 13 meters long and 7 meters wide, lined with watertight bricks and bitumen, supplied by its own well and drained by corbelled arches. Nowhere else in the Bronze Age did public water infrastructure reach this scale. Here, cleanliness and order were engineered into daily life. Power in the Indus Valley left no grand signature. In Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, The streets are lined with houses built to the same plan, most between 100 and 130 square meters. No palaces, no mansions, no exclusive compounds. The largest house barely stands out, its floor area only about 5% greater than its neighbors. Archaeological surveys of over 200 homes in Mohenjo-daro confirm this pattern. Uniformity, not hierarchy. Even in Dolavira, close to the citadel, houses blend together, refusing to set anyone apart. What is most striking is what is not there. No palaces, no temple towers, no royal tombs filled with treasure. In Egypt, kings left pyramids. In Mesopotamia, rulers built ziggurats and carved their names in stone. Here, the skyline is flat. Public baths, granaries, warehouses all serve the city, not a single name. The Great Bath, the largest public structure, was for ritual or hygiene, not for kings. No statues of rulers, no thrones, no royal iconography. Graves are simple, shallow pits, with no gold, no monumental markers, no hint of a dynasty. Who set the standards? Who enforced them? The evidence points to a society where power worked quietly, woven into the city's fabric. Every house, every street, every drain tells the same story. Collective order, not the will of a single ruler. The silence is its own mystery. Inscribed stones and tiny seals, thousands of them, emerge from the dust of Mohenjo-daro in Harappa. Each bears a line of symbols, sharp as if pressed yesterday. Yet after a century of study, the meaning of these marks is as dark as the day they were buried. About 400 distinct signs have been cataloged. Some look like fish, others like tridents, and others like simple lines and loops. Most inscriptions are heartbreakingly brief, just 4 or 5 signs, rarely more than a dozen. There are no long texts, no epic stories, no king's decree carved for eternity. Not a single bilingual inscription has been found. No Rosetta Stone. Every attempt to crack the code, Dravidian, Sanskrit, Sumerian, even computer algorithms, has run aground. The script stands alone, a language without a key. The people of the Indus left behind cities of order, drains that still carry water, bricks that fit together after 4 millennia. But their words? Silence. A civilization of millions, and not a single sentence we can read. The world they built is visible, mapped, measured. Their thoughts remain sealed, unread, unclaimed by any living tongue. Goods crossed deserts and seas, linking the Indus world to distant kingdoms. Carnelian beads, polished to a deep red, traveled from Gujarat to the royal courts of Mesopotamia. Lapis lazuli, mined in the mountains of Afghanistan, moved south through Indus hands before reaching Egypt. Indus seals have turned up in Sumerian cities. Mesopotamian pottery surfaces in the ruins of Harappa. These were not rare exchanges. Standardized stone weights, tiny cubes precisely carved and always in the same ratios, appear from the Arabian Gulf to the heart of the Indus cities. Merchants, unseen but everywhere, kept the system running. Even cotton, first spun here, was woven into cloth and shipped west, centuries before it grew in the fields of Egypt. Trade demanded trust. Across more than 1,000 settlements, the same weight system, the same seal marks, the same careful accounting. No evidence of border conflict, no burned layers, no mass graves. Skeletal studies from Mohenjo-daro and Harappa show less than 5% of remains bear signs of trauma, far lower than in Egypt or Mesopotamia. Streets thronged with traders, not soldiers. The Indus civilization flourished on exchange, not conquest. Peace, not war, was its engine. So when the collapse comes, it will not be at the point of a sword. After 1900 BCE, the cities began to empty, not with fire or invasion, but with a slow unraveling that left no conqueror's name in the dust. The old story of violent collapse, outsiders sweeping in and burning the streets, has lost its grip. Archaeologists find no massacre, no layer of ash, no trophies of war. Instead, the evidence points elsewhere. Tree rings from the western Himalayas shrink year after year, recording a world where the summer monsoon faltered. pollen trapped in ancient mud shifts, from lush river grasses to stubborn desert shrubs. Lake beds in the Thar Desert dry and crack, leaving behind layers of salt. Speleothems from Indian caves, mineral records older than memory, show a sharp drop in rainfall, a signature of drought that lasted centuries. Radiocarbon dates cluster around 1900 BCE, marking the retreat from Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and the other great cities. The people didn't vanish. Their DNA, traced in ancient bones, flows into the east, following the rivers that still ran. There is no sharp break, no sign of mass replacement, just a minor trace of steppe ancestry, a whisper rather than a shout. The civilization dissolved into smaller villages, drifting toward the Ganges, seeking water and a future. The rivers failed, and the cities fell silent. The mystery is not invasion, but survival. How 5 million souls adapted, moved, and left behind a world built on order, now claimed by dust and silence. 5 million lives. Cities mapped by logic, not kings. Their script remains unread. The most mysterious empire in human history remains silent, yet its shadow stretches across our modern world. How much brilliance can vanish, and will we ever truly listen to the echoes beneath our feet? Share your thoughts below.